So, next up, I'd like to introduce our final panelist. We'll save the best for last, they say. But my good friend and colleague, Mr. Will Hobson. Will, how are you today, good sir?
Jared, I'm hanging in there, sir. Mr. Washington, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for being here, and I know our audience certainly appreciates you, my friend. So, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your role here at Extreme, my friend?
All right. My name's Will Hobson. I am the VSAM for SLED in Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois. I've been here at Extreme Networks for about 2 years. I came to Extreme Networks via Aerohive Networks, where I was there for about 6 years. Prior to Aerohive, I've always been in security. I was at Imperva, HPE, VeriSign, just to name a few. This is really between Aerohive and here been my first stint in actual networking, which has been, it's helped expand my technical knowledge. And Basically, that's about myself in a nutshell as far as here at Extreme.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I was blessed enough to work with you at Aerohive. And, I remember coming on and, you being such someone that I admired and looked up to. And you were so
Thank you.
positive, right? You were so positive and always so willing to help me out and getting started, man, which is something I am forever grateful to you for.
No, thank you.
But, speaking of that, what brought you to Aerohive and made you take that change from the security space into networking?
Good question. I think all of us being technology nerds get to a point where we want to broaden our knowledge, right? I'd been doing the same thing in security for 15 years prior to Aerohive. I just felt like I needed a change. I needed to learn something new. Obviously, the internet and networks were obviously expanding and growing at that period of time, and it was an emerging business, and it seemed perfect for me as an opportunity to learn something new, and at the same time be involved in an emerging kind of business and emerging market at the same time.
Right. No, absolutely. And it's you got to change with the times. You got to evolve, right? And you got to always be learning, always moving forward. Um, which brings me to my question about sales, right? You being a sales account manager and seeing great success, man. You've been crushing it. I think a lot of folks in our audience and a lot of people in general, when they think about big tech and tech companies, they don't necessarily think about sales, right? They always are thinking, hey, oh my gosh, I need to be an engineer. I need to be a mechanical engineer, an electrical engineer, which we have roles like we just talked to Byron, right? And there are roles there, and those guys, they turn the wheels. But from a sales perspective, I think that there's great opportunity there, right? You've seen it and great success, and myself as well in the sales realm. For someone potentially just starting out, let's say talking to any undergrads or people that are just starting out their career, what are your thoughts on sales, and, some of your conceptions and any advice you may have for anyone that may be considering starting a career in sales at a tech company, hopefully here at Extreme.
Good question. My experience has been sales traditionally is kind of a hard field to get into, right? Even in my tech career, I had to work in various positions before I was able to get into the sales role. So I think there's a big misconception that you know sales isn't available to everyone, so to speak. It's kind of a good old boys type of thing where you have to know someone, someone has to have an in for you to get in. And I think that's what kind of turns people off sometimes is knowing that, hey, if I don't have anybody that's there championing for me or anyone who's looking out for me, even if I get the job, what are my chances of being successful? And I think, my advice would be people, people buy from people. A lot of times we get caught up in, having to know the technology in and out, knowing, uh, the infrastructure and the solution to the T. I found that people buy from people that are sincere and that are actually, looking out for their best interests and they're not trying to take advantage of them. And I think that, sales is a personality job, in my opinion. And for anyone who has, is a people person that has a good personality, that's willing to learn, and that's interested in actually just being, closing deals and getting that rush from getting commission checks and that sort of thing. It's I wouldn't take it away from the world. I love the grind. I love the scared part of it, and I love the success that comes out the other end.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I completely agree with you. I think, that misconception, is certainly still out there. I just don't think folks realize when you look at technology, like you go to the mall, right? Or the shopping center and you see cameras around. Those cameras had to be purchased and installed, right? And who do you call? Who did that establishment, that organization call to get a quote to procure those devices, right? I mean, everything from cell phone towers, right? Verizon, not just the phones, but like the actual equipment that goes on the towers, those need to be bought and procured and deployed, right? And it's the individuals in sales that help facilitate that transaction. And I just think, when folks think sales, they think cars, they think retail, and they're not necessarily thinking about big tech and some of the things that need to be sold. I mean, even ball bearings in a vehicle, right, are sold, right? And there's an individual that helps to facilitate that. And I really love sales because, like you said, Will, people buy from people. And I personally am a people person, as are you. And it's about taking care of people, right? Hey, I have a need. I need this for my district, right? I need these devices to support my one-to-one program and facilitate curriculum at this district. Can you help me? Yes, I can. Let's see a demo. Let's get some documentation. I need pricing so I can go to the board. Okay, we have you, Mr. Customer. Maybe I'm calling my SE and leveraging resources. Calling Byron. Hey, Byron, I need you to get on site, and help this customer out, right? So at the end of the day, you're really that quarterback, right, for that entire engagement. And it's so fulfilling and rewarding when you get to get that project done, right, and make it through and successfully execute on an initiative for a customer, right? So absolutely. And so in regards to your being here at Extreme now, coming over from Aerohive, from a DNI perspective, what are your thoughts, right? How are we doing as a company? Have you enjoyed what's been going on? Is there anything that you would like to see us do better or differently? Just what has been your experience, Will?
Kind of like the last panelist said, I didn't really have expectations that were very high. As we all know, we've all been different places, and a lot of times you hear, hey, we want to be inclusive, we want to make sure everyone feels comfortable, but it's a lot of times it's lip service. I will say it's been good here that they've really put a lot of resources into this, more than I've seen at other companies. And I understand the world's changing. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and so it's good to know that Extreme kind of recognizes not only what's going on in the world right now, but also what was even going on at Extreme Networks for a while, and kind of came to the conclusion that hey, we need to make some changes and at least try our best to make other groups comfortable, be more inclusive. The only thing I would say is They got to get Martin Luther King Day off. Other than that, we'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, we'll be working on. Yes, yes, that is coming. I know. I took it off. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'd use my own time for that. So yeah, so
yeah,
that would be my
yeah,
only suggestion.
yeah. No, no, absolutely will. And thank you for that, my friend. And you know, if someone was considering coming on board here at Extreme early in career, maybe they are long in their career and they're just looking for a change, what advice would you have for them when trying to apply for a position here?
As far as advice for applying for a position, I would let them know that don't let preconceived notions stop you from applying for jobs that you normally probably would not have applied for. Because we are doing a lot better job of again being inclusive and kind of opening up positions to everyone. I think that and I think we've all been there where in the past there's certain jobs you see and automatically you go, I'm probably not going to get that. My advice would be, hey, don't let those preconceived notions stop you from applying for what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we heard from Richard Hector earlier, who was an SE and came back in a sales role and is now a SaaS solution specialist, right? So he made that change and he came back into a different role. But I think that's great advice, right? It's hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If there's something you're interested in, guys, come apply today. And hopefully this event will help to give you that extra push that you needed to get online, get your resume submitted, and really move that ball forward in regards to truly looking at starting a career here and joining our Extreme family. So thank you so much, Will. Again, we appreciate you. One word. If you had one word for Extreme, I got to ask you as well. What would that one word be?
One word for extreme. I would say conscious.
There we go.
Um, and the reason why I say that is because with everything going on right now, both internally, externally, Extreme could have just did the same old thing. They could have just, hey, we're just gonna keep on trucking, doing the same old thing we were doing before that was causing complaints and people thinking that there was a glass ceiling. I think that they've done a good job of recognizing, hey, this is, we're conscious of what's going on in the world and what's going on internally, and we're willing to do something about it. And that's what I would say.
That's a great, absolutely, Will. That's a great one. Conscious, right? As we continue to make an impact both internally and externally here at Extreme. So, thank you so much, Will. I appreciate you, my friend.